Did Hillary Clinton and her staff intentionally obstruct justice, destroying evidence in the middle of an investigation? And did the FBI know about it and ignore it?
The House Oversight Committee Chairman Jason Chaffetz calling for a new investigation into why a contractor working on Hillary Clinton's private server deleted thousands of emails after those emails had been subpoenaed as part of a congressional investigation.
In this letter to the U.S. Attorney here in Washington, D.C., the Republican Chairman Jason Chaffetz writes, the department should investigate and determine whether Secretary Clinton or her employees and contractors violated statutes that prohibit destruction of records, obstruction of congressional inquiries, and concealment or cover-up of evidence material to a congressional investigation. And speaking to Fox this morning, the congressman said his committee will continue to investigate and hold hearings.
I don't think Hillary Clinton gets it. The fact of the matter is they did not look at this. And the House of Representatives, also a branch of government, also gets to look into this. Of course we're going to do hearings. We're going to get to the truth of this.
In a letter to the U.S. Attorney for D.C., Chaffetz writes, quoting, the department should investigate and determine whether Secretary Clinton or her employees and contractors violated statutes that prohibit destruction of records and concealment or cover-up of evidence material to a congressional investigation.
There could be a possible obstruction charge.
That's right.
What are you hearing about that?
Look, a possible charge of obstruction would really hinge on the timing. On March 3rd, 2015, a preservation order was issued by the court for the Clinton emails. On March 31st, the FBI found Clinton's legal team held a conference call with the Denver-based IT firm Platte River Networks, who was managing the Clinton server. And in that same time frame, records were electronically shredded.
If destruction occurred after Congress issued a subpoena for information, it occurred a day later, 2 days later, a week later, why did it occur then? Then it becomes more curious and perhaps more relevant.
Asked about the obstruction allegation, Clinton told reporters yesterday that she's not concerned.
The FBI resolved all of this. Their report answered all the questions. The findings included debunking his latest conspiracy theories.
But it's really worth noting that there's some very unusual practices in the FBI's interviewing of Clinton's lawyers. In some cases, Cheryl Mills acts as her personal attorney, and in other cases, she's a witness to the handling or mishandling of classified information.
According to FBI files, Cheryl Mills apparently instructs unnamed employees of Platte River Networks, that's the company that maintained Clinton's server, to delete the old archives and make sure new emails are only saved for 60 days. But in March of 2015, when the New York Times broke the story of Hillary Clinton's private email server, the Benghazi Select Committee issued a new flurry of subpoenas to obtain the emails. And the FBI files show that a Platte River employee had a, quote, oh blank moment, realizing he didn't wipe the server clean back in December like he was supposed to. Days later, Hillary Clinton's aides and lawyers have a conference call with Platte River employees, and House Republicans say despite the emails being under subpoena, a new round of deleting begins, including the use of a computer shredding program.
After a conference call with her lawyers, somebody applied a product called Bleach Bit to make sure nobody can ever read it.
When asked about it earlier today, Clinton not only said that she's innocent, she also suggested this is simply another GOP conspiracy.
Do you have any concerns that emails were deleted after they were already supposed to be preserved? And did you ask for them to be deleted?
No, of course not. I have no concern on either count. None. And neither did the FBI.
A former FBI assistant director takes great issue with how Director James Comey handled the Clinton probe. He thinks Comey gave the secretary a big pass.
The FBI director is playing politics. And this interview, why wasn't it recorded? Why wasn't there a transcript? Why wasn't she under oath?
This on a Friday as if he's an arm of the Clinton campaign. I'm just stunned because there's a lot of information in here that's of great public interest. And if you really cared about transparency, you would say to yourself, is the best time to release this to get a full public hearing on Friday before Labor Day?
By the way, following up.
Joining me now, Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Anna Napolitano, who reviewed these FBI documents. He joins us now with what he found dumped right before Labor Day, as she's done this 4 times now. She's actually, she or her team, they somehow they always find a way before Memorial Day, before July 4th, before Labor Day, and then the other one was New Year's Eve, right? Those are the 4. Look, there it is. Purely coincidental. But what may have happened here is important. You don't get a subpoena and then start destroying documents.
Well,
that's not okay.
Okay, so that is what happened here. Congressman Chaffetz is correct in his timeline. The subpoena was issued and then the documents were destroyed. Congressman Gowdy is correct. We're talking about two different committees. Congressman Chaffetz runs the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Gowdy the House Benghazi Committee. Both put on notice Secretary Clinton. In fact, Congressman Gowdy's committee put Secretary Clinton on notice while she was still Secretary of State.
Because they were like, wait a minute, you have your own private server? And you didn't give us any of the documents from it in response to our earlier subpoenas? Well, we want that. And you better not destroy anything between now and the time we get it. And she did.
Correct. Now we found out that it was destroyed. Now here's the very, very troubling news. We learned this on Friday. We learned this from the FBI. Mm-hmm. The FBI knew that servers were wiped clean, that BlackBerries were smashed and destroyed, and that a laptop was lost in the U.S. mail. The FBI ought to have pursued Mrs. Clinton and the people around her for obstruction of justice, and it did not do so. That is exceptionally distressing.
I can't believe that they would do what is such a patently political move. It makes them look like political operators versus law enforcement officers.
The question now is whether these security people who are involved in these erasures can be brought forward to tell what they know, not so much how they did it, but who told them to do it and under what circumstances, and whether this can indeed be traced back to Mrs. Clinton herself. It seems a little strange that something this important could be carried out without her expressing some wish that it be done.
The case against her for failure to secure state secrets is overwhelming. Now the case against somebody, we don't know who, for obstruction of justice is overwhelming, and Megan, the FBI has done nothing. Someone, somewhere, it must be the White House, has restrained the FBI from doing its job.
Here's what happened before he did the deleting after the subpoena. He had a conference call with Secretary Clinton's attorneys just days before the deletions, created a work ticket on or about the day of the deletion, used BleachBit, a software program designed to prevent recovery of evidence, manual deletion of backups, and on it goes. And the question is, was this intentional, and what were they hiding, if anything?
How could it not have been intentional with the regular, consistent, systematic destruction of evidence? And I'm sorry to tell you, her lawyers may have been involved in this, which adds another entirely different level of culpability.
What if they say none of this stuff was responsive, and therefore we didn't need to keep it? It was all yoga, blah, blah, blah. You know, like that was, who cares? We could delete that stuff.
She swore under oath to a federal judge, and she swore under oath to 2 congressional committees. She returned all of her work-related emails. The FBI found 17,800 work-related emails that she failed to return. Not all of them were readable because some of them had been destroyed. You tell me that's not a prima facie case of obstruction of justice, and the FBI has done nothing about it. And I don't know how far Congressman Chaffetz is going to go. Election day is 63 days from now. I don't even know that he could get to first base between now and Election day on this.
You say the DOJ actually, I mean, the FBI actually violated policy in that interview. You believe they violated their own policy.
Yes.
How?
Her lawyers told the DOJ she will not show up for an interview if you record it. It is policy of the DOJ to record every interview. There is no record of what she said other than the summaries written by the FBI agents who were in the room and who listened to her. In this digital age, there is no recording. There's a verbatim recording of every single other one of the witnesses interrogated in this case, except for Mrs. Clinton.
Wow.
You know, they keep finding more of these emails. She was supposed to have turned them all over. They keep finding out that there were more devices than she claimed that she had. All these things, while none of them by themselves is a death blow, is the death by 1,000 cuts.
Listen, maybe there'll be an explanation other than the FBI has cleared me and you're all a bunch of idiots.